Hello, everyone. Welcome. You found your way to the Sacred Wisdom Circle. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the place where we remember that we are light and we let go of what the world has told us we need to be. So we are the lighthouses of truth, guiding the way. And we're so happy that you're joining us here today. So today it's Alana and I, and we get to talk to you. It is a big energy week this week. It's the Lion's Gate right today and full moon tomorrow. So lots going on this week.
Oh, lots of good, big, juicy energy, and it's all about the manifestation and what you're creating. It's funny. I'm working with a colleague of mine, and we're working on a program that she's offering next week. But anyway, so one of the things was let's talk about what we're releasing, but also what we're manifesting specifically today, because this Lionsgate is all about what you're manifesting, what you're creating, and the energies are flowing quickly, and like it's like a rapid fire, like river. You know what I mean? Like there's just
Yeah.
that quick flowing, like let's not sit on this, let's move, and then move into action.
Right? And we were, Alana and I were just talking before we came on, and it's like this morning I woke up, I'm like, oh, I can feel that really powerful energy vortex, and I just want to be in meditation and be in that space and drift away and
Mhm.
then now like just before coming on it's like no, now I want to move, now I want to go. Like
Yeah.
the energy's moving that quickly and differently for each of us.
Well, very similarly, as just before we got on, it was like, okay, now I need like I had the same very beautiful morning of flow and just enjoying the energy, and I was doing some meditations. I noticed though, because I was curious about last night, I tend to like in the evening I'll listen to meditations and stuff and just on YouTube and nothing in particular. And I kind of created this quick little playlist of other people that had offered Lionsgate meditations, kind of setting up for today. And a lot of them weren't guided. Like a lot of them I find, they tend to guide you through something. And I was flipping through a couple of different ones. A lot of them they start, but then it's the music and the frequency more than anything that there's not as much, speaking in words and guided meditation. It's just the frequency of it. And I just thought that was interesting that most people were feeling that. It's not so much specifically about the what it needs to be and what you mentioned, even just in the introduction about, what we think we need to be for the world, but just allowing that flow, that energy to come through, even what you were
Yeah.
doing this morning in your meditation.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It's just drift away and let it come
Right?
through. Yeah, I love that. There's such a variety. I do have guided meditations too, and there are big like sections of it where I actually tell myself, stop talking because
Yeah.
we need space. We just need space to allow whatever's coming in to come in, and that's where the ideas and the inspiration and the epiphanies come through, right?
hmm Well, one of the things that I even posted about this yesterday was like when we find that connection to our truest self, it comes through understanding ourselves more and unconditional love. And I feel like when we're in that connection, that flow, that meditative state, this is where we're just allowing and stepping into unconditional love.
Oh my gosh. That's so, and that has been the message all week coming through for me. And I did a new masterclass or transmission, I called it, called Loud in the Soul this week. And it
Mm.
was very much about that. It was like, okay, aiming clear from your soul. That's the message that was coming through from Lionsgate. It's like this is about sinking in to soul and creating from your soul what is like just allowing your soul to become louder than the 3D world that is going on around us. And this is where we need to be in order to navigate what's going on around us because it can get very scary in a lot of ways. And I did have earlier this week, I had things come up in fear form and through dreams and that sort of thing. And I sat with it. It's like, this is interesting. What's going on here? Right? Why am I getting caught up in this fear when I tend to really keep a distance from anything out there in the media and I had a dream come through that was very symbolic of all of the fears that are swirling around out there. And I laid in bed. I woke up, and of course, it woke me up because it was very, very emotional, like very, like kind of panic, fear, you know. And I laid there and was caught up in it a little bit. And then I thought, what, how do we navigate this? How do we, like, it feels like it's getting so big. How do we navigate this? And that message of like, just radiate the light, like be the
Mhm.
light. That's how you create influence, is become a bigger, bigger, stronger light. I mean, if you feel like, there's dark energies coming in, the way to battle that, if that's the word you want to choose,
Yeah.
is to be a bigger light. And we won't be overtaken by the darkness. It's not going
No.
to happen. And then it's like, where are you focusing from? What is your foundation of your focus as you move forward and create in the world? That are you creating from your soul, from love, or are you saying, I got to create this so that doesn't happen?
Mm. Well, and this is one of the things, like I'm also doing it's a workshop, but I also didn't call it specifically a workshop, but it was more about an experience because that was kind of what I wanted to give people, was just an experience of something different. And it's like you said, it's called aligned, and it's coming from that soul's perspective as opposed to coming from what you think you need to do or what you know what I mean, what you believe, that's, or figuring it out, any of that energy, just allowing it to be. And one of the things actually that came through for me today and yesterday as well, and actually I just double checked because I had a friend of mine who's also very much in the spiritual world, but he's a colleague of, works with my husband in construction and has a business in construction right now. And he was sitting here having conversation with us, but he sent me a message, and it was very much be the example, like be the example of the light. And then we try to fight the fears. And I love that you brought up the dream. And it wasn't until you mentioned it, I hit this recollection of, oh, I had one of those this week too, of the
Oh,
fear of something coming, like, and taking this big, it was actually a bear, I think is what showed up in my dream. And it was like attacking my space. And I never really thought about it until just when you mentioned that. And it's like, but that's what came through after that, was this being this a source of light, is that we can only be the example. We can only change ourselves and step into it ourselves more in order to be the change and the influence. And I've seen this as example through a friend of mine. She's been doing this work for quite a while, like 5, 6 years at least, if not more. And she's changed and grown herself so much that she actually had her children make a comment, not on her change, but what she's trying to change generationally in her family. She had her kids mention something to her that was showing evidence of the change that's happened without her teaching them or changing them. It was like they came to her and said, expressed that this, and without telling her story, but expressed this generational problem that she's seen within herself and her mother and whatever, and that they've already shifted. Like,
yes.
that's the ripple effect when we become the focus, because we can't change others. We can't be the light. We can't change the world. It's not about us doing all of that. It's really about us being
Oh,
that.
I love that. Yeah. And that is part of our role, I think, here is the shifting of the ancestral patterns.
Mhm.
It ends here because we got work to do.
Yes, so much. And I feel like this is why, like, if you go back, even like, you see these clips all the time. Well, those of us in this generation see the clips all the time about, like, or I do anyway, about, the millennial things or the
Yep.
nostalgic 90s things or any of this stuff. And you go back to that space, the 80s and the 90s, and there wasn't a whole lot of talk about, oh, let's heal our inner child, and like all of these things that we're hearing and is most commonly trending now about the healing and the whatever. It wasn't common, or it wasn't common tongue, common language at that point because we weren't ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was, you know, having a therapist or going for any type of therapy was, oh, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And not, it wasn't just, no, I just want to become a better person. I just want to, grow in my awareness and my consciousness. It's like, oh, there must be something really wrong with you. I'm going to just hold you at arm's length because I don't trust you now.
Yeah,
Right?
you must be crazy.
Yeah, that was exactly it. And I do remember that clearly. And I started going to circles, women's circles in the 90s, the mid 90s. And it was kind of hush hush. You didn't tell
Yeah.
everybody that, right? Yeah.
It's
So,
so interesting that we've shifted so much in that space. I mean, yes, when you're in this space, you tend to notice it more.
mhm.
And so it stands out and it feels like everybody does it, but it's like, it's still not, we're not there yet.
No,
We're
no, they're
getting
talking about soul, spirituality, higher consciousness, more awareness, your higher wisdom. Those are the words that are coming out. And that it is coming out in corporate too,
there.
accessing your higher wisdom. Um, but not fully. You're right, not
Hmm.
fully. We still have a long way to go.
Well, and I feel like conversations like this and why we've created the Sacred Wisdom Circle, like these are all resources. People are coming in to share that wisdom or to express it more. And I felt this even when I started my podcast called That Feeling of More like 3, 4 years ago, I think. And it was around normalizing this conversation. And the more we have these conversations, the more we can empower others to feel normal and to feel like we are that and we can be that and it's allowed.
Yes, and that there is more than just this
Mm.
physical world that we see, that we can feel energy. We are connected. Like when I, think of an old friend and then they call, like that is a connection. There's a direct, line happening there where they're picking up on it, or, you walk past someone and you feel something like that. That is happening. You're not crazy.
Hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what we're doing here. Like exactly what we're
Exactly.
doing here. It's like these are normal conversations that need to happen in order for people to keep growing. And one of the things I said in the Loud in the Soul class was, we learn and we grow. And we've come a long way from caveman
Mhm.
to
Very
here
long. Yeah.
in awareness and awakened consciousness. And even from 100 years ago, we are more awakened. And when you think about the things that you learned, if you went to school or you took a course or something and you learned something, you can't go back. There's
No.
no going back. Once you know, you know. And that's a more expanded awareness. That's a higher consciousness. And now we're getting to the point where, like, okay, well, we can actually take big leaps forward in this if we start to really work on our awareness and our consciousness instead of it just happening, because that's the way it moves forward and life goes on. But now it's like, how can I become even more aware in my life, even more aware of the energy, even more aware of my fears and what's coming up within me that is absolutely, you talk about manifesting today, it's that inner, those deep inner feelings that we're manifesting from. So
Yeah.
awareness of that, because we haven't been aware and we're like, okay, this manifestation thing, like that doesn't work because I've been trying for so long
Mhm.
and it's not working. It's like, well, okay, there's something there inside of you that is contradicting what it is that you want. So it's
Exactly. So well
balancing
put.
it out. Yeah, so we need to keep working on those feelings, those frequencies within us.
And they are deeply rooted. The patterns, the frequencies, these beliefs that we've created over a lifetime.
Yeah.
And it becomes an automatic program. It's like when you drive your car somewhere and you get there and you're like, I don't remember driving here.
Right, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so subconscious that you don't even pay attention. You're like driving and you're not like there's like every once in a while I stop myself and go, I'm driving a like whatever ton vehicle at a very high, you know what I mean, down the highway and I'm like, just unaware of what's going on around, but you are. But it's just so funny that like we don't like remember that time whenever you just started to drive and you were so cautious and so like aware of everything and it just becomes part of your natural instinct after the practice. So it's the same thing with all these beliefs and these things that are holding us back that are contradicting the manifestations. So the digging deeper, becoming more aware has always been the biggest piece, even in all of my teachings and what we do specifically is growing the awareness so we can understand it better.
Yeah,
When
totally.
we understand, I was actually just having a conversation with some clients in a program of mine this week, and we talked about, the more we become aware, it becomes building blocks. It becomes like pieces of the puzzle. When we learn about ourselves and understand ourselves better, it's like becoming pieces of that puzzle, like the whole puzzle of you. And as we grow, these other pieces become limitations, and we kind of lose bits and pieces of ourselves along the way. And it's like every time you understand that deeper awareness, it's like, oh, there's another piece of the puzzle, and you get to see the whole picture of yourself. It's so fun.
It is. It is. And it's so worth it. Um,
Mhm.
there are so many, women that I'm working with that are still not able to receive because
Mhm.
of these inner thoughts and ideas. And, when stuff comes up like, oh, I love giving, I love serving, I love doing what I'm doing in my business, in my coaching, and whatever in my family. I just love to nurture. That's what I love to do. Fabulous, but what about the receiving and the filling up? And
Mhm.
when you start to uncover the reasons why they won't receive, can't receive more than enough,
Mhm.
then things really begin to shift, and they're afraid to go there. There's a real block there of being able to say, I am worthy of receiving, because we've been taught it's selfish.
Yeah.
And, there's so many things woven in there. And each individual person needs to unpack their own. But I do see a long, we're still got a long journey to go yet for most people to be able to say, no, I do need more. I need more love. I need more support. I don't have to do it
Mhm.
all alone. And the awareness of that is is huge. And in this Lion's Gate, this is a big part of what you could be unpacking.
That's so beautiful. And I love that setting that intention and asking people to set the intention of it right now, even as you're listening to this, even if it's a replay, and even if it's not during the Lion's Gate, this could be months down the road and you're listening to this episode. But I would challenge you to open yourself up to what that would feel like. What does that look like? What is the unpacking you need to do around it? Because the more we dig deeper, the more we understand. And a lot of the times, like you said, people are struggle with that, like, and I talked about this the other day of like the I don't know. I don't know what that is. And I feel like this is why these circles are important is because when we have community to reflect each other and understand each other, or even have it as like, because even the expression, we talk about talk therapy and stuff like that, but even expressing ourselves, aren't even, because that program is so deep, like driving the car to the job or the wherever, the house, that pattern is so deep, we don't even see it. We don't even recognize it. We get to the place and we're like, how did I get here? Because the pattern is so ingrained, it's part of you and it becomes part of our body and the physicalness of it and the fact that like we could be going through that same program and pattern over and over and not even be aware of it, not even see it happening. So when you're surrounded by like-minded people that are there to not just vent to and jump on the bandwagon and complain about things, but the right community that's like-minded, that's there to help support you in this, like you said, of having even just having that support is huge.
Yeah, and that's perfect, because that's exactly, I love that you said that. That's exactly what we both offer. So
Mhm.
you were just talking about the group that you were telling me about it. Maybe share it here,
Yeah,
the group
sure.
that you're creating.
I currently just actually beginning to offer what is called a leadership, or as well as in person here locally, we're doing an expansion circle. So it's just a community of like-minded souls to be able to connect, create, and just have that space of awareness and reflection. And I think like you have a space as well that you host.
Yes, yeah, mine is the soulfully aligned nest, and we meet weekly on Zoom. And that's exactly what it is to be around the like-minded people that are working on awakening their awareness, heightening their consciousness, so that they are consciously creating the life that they truly desire and not living that same old pattern, but being able to clear that out. So, and I think that is so important that and for people that are listening, it's like if you are on this journey, you need to be in these groups that are also walking forward. And like you said, not the groups that are complaining. We don't want to be there. But the ones that are like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, I've had this awakening this week. And or we've activation instead of trigger. I've had this activation. This has happened like earlier this week. Like I said, I had these fears come up. Like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? And I have some support groups for me too, where I get to go and go, okay, like, whew, let me unpack this because it's really interfering with what I want to create and who I am and who I want to be because I want to be out there leading other people into soulful alignment and expanding their light and creating a better world, but I can't do that if I've got this gunk
Right.
going on here and I need to get it out. So we all need these groups, and whether it is locally live or on Zoom, actually, I feel we need both. I
I
do.
do
I feel like
too.
you need to find a community locally where you can meet physically. And then you also need the Zooms because we're so far apart. So it
Hmm.
becomes like a beautiful golden web of groups connecting, right? Group and
Yeah,
group connect through Zoom and then spread out. And I feel like that's where we can make a bigger impact in the world too.
100%. And like you said, just having that a space to do the unpacking. It is so friggin' important. Again, we could sit there and we could complain about things and we can kind of go through and be like, we complain about the day to day or the partners or the jobs or the things. And it's like, that's not moving us forward. And that's another thing that you mentioned too, is the movement forward and that we want to be better. And I feel like right now we are in a space where most people are working harder to be better and to make a difference. And again, this goes back to what we even mentioned earlier about being the light. And we can't do the work if we're not willing to do the work for ourselves. And you mentioned this as well about, people having this resistance around doing that work. And it's not hard, but it's the opening ourselves up to be vulnerable. And most of us have been taught that we can't be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And the societal impression is that we've all received, or majority of us received, is that we have to bottle it up, we have to keep it in. But we are humans, and as humans, we are here to experience the emotions. And like it's the unpacking and the processing of the things is what really truly causes transformation versus like keeping all that stuff in. That is not healthy being.
Right. Oh, it's so true. And there's something you said there. The human experience. I love that
Mm,
you said that because the human ex like we're not here to avoid it. We're
mhm.
here to enjoy it and to be in that full spectrum of feelings, emotions, and sensations. And I mean, we get to be here in this 3D world where we get to feel and touch and experience and, all of it. So we're not trying to, what's that called?
Like
Spiritual
bypass.
anything.
Yeah.
It's like, no, but we make so much meaning out of things that aren't the truth.
Mm-mm.
And so it's sometimes you can just reframe what's going on and feel better in an instant. Sometimes it's deeper stuff, right? From bigger wounds, but a lot of times we're just making meaning out of something that happened that really is all in our head and it's past programming and a little shift in consciousness can wake you up out of that and you can enjoy life again. So you don't have to be in the heaviness of the human experience.
That's such a good point too, of the fact that, usually when we start this awakening journey, when we're like, we're in the matrix, we'll call it, where you're like kind of just living the day to day and everything's good and then everything's great. And then you have this awakening where you're like, what? I control all of this. I've created all this. This is just a 3D experience that I'm creating on my own. And then you're like, man, I wish I could almost stuff that genie back in the bottle because it's like now it's hard. Now I'm trying to manifest. Now I want to I'm using all this energy and you're paying attention to all these things. But like you said, it's about the story that we put behind it. And it can be easy. And it's just a matter of, like you said, being in a community or like we mentioned about just being more aware and being easy on ourselves and allowing the getting out of the head of the story and just enjoying the journey. We're here to, like you said, have all of the different experiences of every emotion. And I love how you brought up the bypassing because sometimes we're like, I'm just going to bring the positivity in. I'm not going to feel negative at all. I'm just going to feel positive. But we're here to experience all of the feelings on the spectrum, like even the bad ones. We're not meant to stay in them. We're just meant to feel them and experience in them. So part of that healing piece is just allowing ourselves to feel in those times when we're feeling low or we're feeling upset or feeling depressed or any of these things is listen to what it's telling us in there. There's wisdom in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was something you said there too about like the not meant to stay in them.
Mm.
Yeah, that's perfect, right? Like that we take life way more seriously than we need to.
Yes.
If you go, I'm allowed to just move through this, right?
Hmm.
And move on and not stay in this feeling of heaviness. And yeah, I love
In
that.
that story, like you said, about staying, giving that story so much meaning. And then we spend all of our time there figuring out the meaning. And no, just experience it, understand what it's trying to tell you, and then let it go, continue on with your journey.
That's perfect. Okay, so here's some journal prompts for some of you that might be listening is like what's the story you're tired of telling? What's the story that has been a repetitive pattern in your life that you're like, I'm so tired of this happening? And
Mm-hmm.
what are you ready to let go of? Because sometimes it's hard to dream into the manifestation. Sometimes it's really hard to go there for people because we haven't been dreamers all like we've been told not to be dreamers. We've been told to get into the real world and wake up and this is life and it's but coming back into dreaming about the possibilities, it's like, okay, well, let's start with what are we ready to let go of, you know? And and then from there, I actually have 10 journal prompts here that I created for my group tonight, that we're meeting and we're meeting in the teepee tonight. Hopefully, wind and rain are an issue again
No,
today.
send the rain our way. We've got a whole drought on this side of the world.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We have never had such lushness in our in our backyard.
Well, here, us here on the Atlantic side of Canada, we're gonna manifest. Let's put that energy and intention out there. Some of that rain to come this way because it's desperately needed.
Okay, well, I think we manifested it because of all the fires out here that we've had over the last few years. I think people have like, let's bring the rain, bring the rain. So,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
we're in that scarcity of like, oh, if we don't get it, like this is bad. So
Yeah. Well, if
anyway,
somebody's
sorry.
getting more rain, somebody's getting less.
This is true.
That's just with rain, people, not with anything else.
Well, it's the contrast that we were just talking about, even. Like there's gonna be both
True.
spectrums at some point.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Such a good
Okay, so
point.
here's the first question that I have from my list here. It's like for the Lion's Gate, for everyone, think about what is my soul asking me to claim more boldly right now?
I love
The
that
thing,
question.
as we talked about, creating from your heart, creating from soul or from the deep inner wisdom of who you are, rather than ego or
Mm.
fears or I have to create this, in order to be
Need. Yeah.
accepted, that sort of thing. So what's your soul asking you to claim more boldly right now? And I had to sit with that for a minute, but I was like, for me, it's more trust.
Mm.
More trust. Trust in the moment, trust in the unfolding.
Mm. For me, that one's me. Like I'm in this process of for myself of stepping into this version of myself that is more bold, that is more like I've always been in my business action taking or even in my life. I've never really sat back and just kind of like I've always been in the action piece, but it's like speaking my truth more boldly and being in that space more boldly.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, not having so, and that would then answer the second one was where have I been holding back out of fear, doubt, or outdated identity? It's like
Yeah.
that fear of bringing forth everything that I'm doing. I think I stepped into that a couple years ago of like, you know what, this is who I am. I think that's part
Well,
of like you get over 60 and you're like, I don't care anymore. This is who I am. Like
and I
if you
know I've
don't
done
like it,
that to an extent, but it's like,
yeah,
again, it's
of
that
course
what
you
can I take on more boldly of like that, like you said, that outdated
yeah.
identity of just like, and I think we all can do that in a little more of a way of just stepping into that, you know what? I don't need to be apologetic and I don't need to be, yes, we're Canadian, we're going to automatically apologize for everything anyway. I know not everybody listening is Canadian, but anyway, it's just that, you know, we can be more ourselves than we have been because there's still those of us that are even in this work and we've been doing spiritual work for a while and we've been doing the journey and we've released some things. I still feel like there's an authentic side of us that we still haven't quite had the courage to truly live.
Yeah, I love that authentic self. That is so powerful. The authenticity of being able to step into fully who you are. Um, and people feel that. That's what makes you magnetic then, is
Mhm.
like just being in that authenticity. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah. And it definitely I
That's
have
good
more
prompts.
work in there. Like I can say I've done a lot and I've really, I've stepped into this and I remember a few years ago when I wrote I was first starting in my business and I was like trying to word my emails properly so that nothing triggered anybody and watching the what I said and finally I was like I can't do this anymore. And I wrote an
No.
email that I said, "You know what? I need to come out of the closet here. This is who I am."
Yes.
I was like, I collect crystals. I love psychic stuff. Like I just came and laid it all out on the table. And I think I had two people cancel their subscription and everyone else was sending me emails back going, "This is awesome. I love this. I collect crystals too."
You brought more people out of the closet. See, you were the
Right?
light that
Yeah.
led inspiration for others.
Yes. Yes. It
And that's
started.
it.
But yeah, there's still people around me, friends, colleagues like that are, uh, a little standoffish because they don't understand it.
Well, but that's the thing is that I really truly feel this is such a good conversation that the more of us that step into this, it's not even about making them, but we are opening up space for them to consider. Even if it's triggering, even if it's like that makes them feel standoffish, it's still getting them to ask the question where the like question themselves of, is this for me or not? And it's causing that reflection. And whether it's they join or jump on or not a part, choose to be not a part of it, they're getting more clearly into themselves in the process. So that's what I think is that when we come as light workers, we step more boldly into who we are authentically. We are giving people, even if it's triggering, giving people an opportunity to understand themselves better.
Beautifully said. I love that. Yeah, that is so true. Okay, let me pick another one
You're
here.
so good.
I've got
Thank you for
10,
sharing.
so we're not going to get through all 10, but
No,
I'm
no, no.
going to randomly pick. There was one here that I really liked. Um, oh, what signs or synchronicities have been guiding me toward this breakthrough moment? So
Ooh.
having a breakthrough and what signs and synchronicities have been showing up for you?
I love that question because it's no longer I'm looking for the breakthrough. It's you're now finding and you automatically, because our brain works like that, it tries to solve the problem. If you ask the right question, it will answer it for you. And so you're now looking for evidence that the breakthrough has already happened.
Yes.
I love that.
I do too, because, and I said this to people a while ago, like, instead of looking for signs for direction, like,
Yeah.
should I do this? Show me a sign that I should do this. It's like watching for the signs as you move forward,
Oh,
because
frig.
it's your action that moves the energy. You
Ugh.
can't sit around and wait for permission or
Yeah.
validation that it's all going to work out, because it may not, whatever, but it's all beautiful. It's all for your personal, growth and evolution. So just move, just follow where your heart is leading and what lights you up and move forward. And then you start to see,
The evidence.
the validations, the signs, the synchronicities. I have to ask you, what are some of the biggest signs that you received as you were moving forward?
Well, that's a brilliant question. Before we get into that one, I do want to go back to what you just said about that question. And like I said, that is such a juicy question about finding the evidence because it does take the action. And this is what I find with people a lot of the time, like you said, that are asking for signs first. Is this the right way? Is this, but we're not moving in action. And we need to be moving in action in order to even get the feedback if it's right for us.
Yes.
Otherwise, we're guessing. And
Yeah.
it's like we want to be in an energy of, I'm not guessing. It's just, I want to feel into it. And you got to at least, even using your imagination, move yourself forward into that. Try it out in your brain first to figure out which way is the right one, which one feels right to you. You won't know the feeling until you start moving into action. So
Yeah.
good. I love that.
Ah,
Back to your question. Did you have something? Sorry.
no, it's good.
No. Your question, what were some of the things as I was moving forward? I don't know if you could maybe, um, I don't really know if I have an answer or specific answers that
I'm
I could
kind of
think
putting
of.
you on the spot.
No, no, it's good, but it's like, I don't know if I specifically have things that I could say, oh, this was a thing or this was a thing. It just felt right. And this is for me, this is even what I teach is like, we have an inner guidance system. And I very early on, even though I didn't know that's what I was doing, I was trusting my intuition. I was working at my job full time and I started doing this work with a mentor of mine. And when I started doing this work, I was like, I just said to her one day, I'm like, I need to do this all the time. And she's like, what do you mean? Do you want to become a coach? Do you want? I'm like, I don't even know. I just know I need to do this all the time. And that was the intuition talking. That was, again, before I even understood what intuition was or how to understand it, or it was that feeling of, I know I need to do this all the time. And for me, the knowing, because that's how I feel it, and each one of us feel it differently. So everybody's going to feel it differently. You may, those of you that listen might not feel it, but it's like, for me, it's that knowing of, and then when I left my job, because I was only working in this work for maybe 3 months, and I was like, I need to leave my job. I left my
Mhm.
full-time pensioned benefits job to work in this field, and everybody, right in the middle of COVID, everybody thought I was nuts. But it was like, no, I know I'm meant to do this. And and to what this is, I don't know yet, but it's led me, I've used my intuition and that guidance, the knowing, the feeling, this feels right for me. This feels like my truth. That's been my evidence.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
I guess I do have an answer.
That is, and that's exactly it. It's the feeling within you that is your guidance system, and that's giving you. Yeah, I've had some people say, but that's got me into trouble. Like,
And I'm
wow,
not saying I haven't been there or have
right?
been or, in there too, but
Yes.
it's the
Yeah.
matter of how we continue to trust and know that sometimes it will. But either way, again, moving forward in action, that's where you'll find the evidence. But one, we've survived all of the days we've lived so far. And two, is you get the opportunity to pivot. Nobody fails at anything, in my opinion. We only just understand and learn a message or learn a lesson in it and then know where we need to pivot from here.
Yeah, exactly. And I can share a really good example of that too from the beginning when
I would appreciate that. Yeah.
I was a full-time teacher in the classroom, and I was really feeling burned out, and I had these passions and desires around spirituality and around creativity and art, and I really wanted to write a book. And I didn't know what the book was going to be about. I just felt like I just want to sit down and write and light a candle and just Right. And, but I thought, I don't know anybody that has written a book. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to publish. Like, what the heck? I don't even know anyone that's someone like way on the other side of the continent in New York City. Like, that's not from, small town Alberta girl.
Mhm.
And I was standing at my kitchen sink and drying dishes one day and just staring out the window, thinking about how much I would love to just do this. And I thought, wait a minute. You know what? I'm a pretty smart girl. I could probably figure this out. I teach English in a classroom. If I can teach people how to write, surely I can write a book.
Yes.
And so I was just like standing there going, I'm going to do this. All I got to do is just start writing. I'll figure it out one step at a time. And I threw the dish towel down, grabbed my journal and pen because everything flooded in. So the moment that I said, I'm going to take this step, I'm going to go in this direction, I knew what
Yeah.
the book was about. I wrote down the title of every chapter. I wrote the introduction and the first three chapters that day, like just sat there all day at my counter writing. And that was the beginning of Soulfully Aligned Women. Like that it one
Love that.
step to another, to another, to another, and here I am today. And so that, following that heart desire and going, wait a minute, open to possibilities, open to maybe I can do this. And whoosh, the universe supports.
And you made a decision about it. It's like, and that's part of it too, is that sometimes we sit on the fence again, looking for the evidence, looking for the evidence. Somebody give me a sign, blah, blah, blah. We sit on the fence.
Yeah.
But you said, you know what? You opened up opportunity and you said, I'm going to do that. And you made that a decision. And then immediately the next steps follow. And this is a really good point for people listening is like when you get to that point where you're like, I don't know, you're sitting in the indecision. You're never going to find the right thing that you need anyway. You need to be moving towards it, like we said, about getting into action or even making that decision is part of the action.
Yes.
And because of that, everything else came in, and you only get to see the next step on the staircase. You never get to see the whole staircase, then make your decision, oh, this is the way I want to go. Never happens like that. It's always like, here's the next step. And you're not going to know what the next step is going to be until you get there.
Yeah.
So freaking
Exactly.
powerful.
Yeah. And that's the time I went part-time in the classroom and I started writing my book and creating more art. And yeah, that's exactly it. It's that decision when it's like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. And then like, no, I know what I want. I don't know
Hmm.
how to get there, but I know what I want. And I'm gonna maybe take one step in that direction. And
Yeah,
that's oh so powerful. Yeah,
friggin' right it is. Yeah, this is so good. This has been such a juicy conversation.
it has. It's been fabulous, of course, with you.
I do need to jump off a little early, but I would love to open up space because I know Angela couldn't join us today, but she had created some beautiful. There's a whole thing around the that she created a blog around the Lion's Gate and a meditation and stuff. So we'll drop that in the show notes as well. But I wanted to point that out that there's an opportunity for those that are interested in understanding a little more about the Lion's Gate, how that all works, and even the manifestation, the meditation around it. She's created some pieces there that I think we'll definitely be adding to the show notes.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Very detailed and great explanation too. So yeah, we'll
Beautiful.
put those in the notes. Okay. Thank you,
Amazing.
Elena, you beautiful lady. I so enjoyed chatting with you.
Oh, this has been so good and so juicy. I'm sorry that Pam and Angela couldn't join. Angela's currently at in was it a event? I know she's doing an event or a conference.
Conference, yeah.
Yeah, and then Pam is enjoying the beautiful sunshine wherever she is, and so unfortunately couldn't join us. But I'm so glad this conversation. I appreciate you and this beautiful conversation and your journaling prompts. I'm excited for people to go through those. Leave your comments, leave your awarenesses in the comments. We'd love to see those too.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we will see you again next week.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Bye.